Elements necessary to maximize small rooms as well as large rooms?
I think with the smaller rooms, just the types of furniture and making sure that the seating is mobile enough, and sturdy enough to accommodate different ways to set that up. Sometimes having chairs that will be able to stack will give you a lot of versatility there as well, to be able to store that in a way easier and require less space for those types for chairs and other kind of furniture. I think also with small spaces, it's probably important to have the acoustics also be right and have enough sound protection between the individual rooms, especially when there is some flexibility being able to open up these rooms to one another. I think the acoustics are the one thing that will probably get the most complaints if there's just not enough of a sound barrier between the various rooms. And then also between that and any of that pre-function space and any of the activities that might be happening outside of that. For the larger spaces, the acoustics also play a role, just being able to hear clearly enough. And so the sound systems, the improvement in that, I think, can be tailored in a way that we can make the speech intelligibility better without having to necessarily be all about volume. And I think the arrangement of the seating and making sure that we're blocking out a lot of the outside noise is going to help with those larger rooms.
And Eric is right about that acoustics in those big rooms. I think that may have some things to do with like the finishes and things in that space, whether we put up acoustic panels, things like that. I think that it'll be very important for us to at least consider working with AV consultant as well as acoustic consultants to really figure out those issues and how we can deal with them properly. And as I said, on most of our projects now, acoustics is huge.
Right. Thank you. And I think we have one more question left. Marietta?
What ideas do you have that would give us the wow factor in comparison to other event centers around the state?
I think, having the upgrade in the finishes, I think will help a little, but making sure that it doesn't become overly thematic, but that it also creates that versatility in having different events. But I think the wow factor will come in some of that technology. The types of monitors and screens have come such a long way, and some of the projection, that technology has also improved a lot. So there's a lot of ways to create imagery within these spaces and to change that based on the different types of functions that you have to, again, match those different kinds of functions, bring in imagery of outdoor spaces or kind of nature or some geometric patterns. You can do a lot of that and tailor that to the specific groups that you have coming in to create just a different kind of environment than they might be used to coming into a convention space.
And I think that whereas we want to keep a lot of meeting rooms neutral so that the users can then tailor it to whatever their presentations are, I think a great opportunity to give a little bit of the Nevada feel, of the local feel, would be in those lobby areas where people are first going in. And again, it's always good to be timeless and veer away from being too overly thematic. But here would be a great place to add either color or texture that really reminds us of the Nevada rural feel.
All right. Well, I know that that's all of it for our standardized questions. If there's anything else you want to add before we close out the presentation, feel free. Now's the time.
No, I think we've covered most of it. I think I just want to thank the board for your time and thank you for considering One Studio to help you with improving your facility. We would be honored to work with your group.
Cool. Well, thank you. We appreciate the proposal and working with us through all of our bugs in putting out this RFP. Your patience has been appreciated, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, so this is an open meeting. Feel free to stay for the next presentation if you like. But Marietta, I'll put the ball back in your court.
All right, we're going to item B, which is parallel lines for their presentation.
Hi. Should I stand like this? Where would you like me to sit, you guys? Should I stand here or sit here?
I think that's wherever you're comfortable.
That's fine.
I think we got you framed good.
And I guess because the board is right here, I'm gonna mostly be looking at you guys. All right.
Perfect.
My name's Dallas Graham. I represent Parallel Lines, and with me are two of my teammates, Rachel Hamlin and Michael Nelson, who are in respective cubes on the screen. Good morning, you two, by the way. Nice to see you.
Hi, good morning.
Hi. We still have, did you guys ask me a question?
No, you
first?
go ahead and make a presentation on it, and then we'll go ahead and ask the questions.
So I got here last night and I stayed over at the Nevada Hotel, first time in Ely, and we felt it was really important to come out here and see and be in this space, especially to get a pretty full sense. We had seen the presentation a few weeks ago in December, but due to the fact that we're pretty close, we wanted to be out here. So I got out here last night, and then just this morning, it was really nice because I was able to walk through the building, and which is always a little bit better than on a screen or virtual tour. You know, the words that come to my mind, I really think the potential here is you have myth-making material right here. When I first was learning about this space, you know, through the project and through the RFP that you guys had put out, one of the very first things that just hit me across the face was the fact that you have one of the oldest pieces of life in the world right here. And number one, it just knocked me on the socks as someone who loves the natural world, who respects and loves nature. But I was like, why don't I know about this? How come I don't know that this is here? How come I didn't know this was in Ely? You know? And it's right here in this convention center. So this is one of the main things that, for me, on this scope of this team as a branding specialist, that I'm curious of why this hasn't happened, but also that this is the potential of what this rebrand and renovation could do, is to bring to light this very special, unique thing about your convention center. And why come here? You know, why else come here? Because there's something magnificent that's here. So how do we create more of that message to get more people to come, not just to use the space for events, but to actually come here to see this amazing thing? This project is also, the team members that we have here, this is the first time we've worked together on this scope of a project with these two incredible specialists. So there's a lot of innovation that we're excited about. And I'm going to allow them to talk to some of their specialties about the project. But what we see here is an opportunity for this space to be actually something very special. And I don't mean that in any way right now that it's not special, but it's like you have something really incredible here. And our hope on this project, with these enhancements, with the renovation, is to really capitalize on what's so unique. And that also focuses on something as part of the region, which is the bristlecone pine. This very gorgeous, unique tree that's only a certain part of the country but it also is part of the myth-making material that you have, which is Prometheus, this oldest of old trees in the whole world that you have sitting here. And that there's beautiful ability to adapt messaging, space, curiosity through something that you've already have that's existing right here. That's a little wink to the legend and the myth of Prometheus, fire from the gods. So, as far as the space and the uses of the space, we know that there, what we understand, there's a real curiosity in the technology component, of incorporating more technology throughout the space, to make it more user accessible, both here and, to have it, virtual meetings or things happening virtually, but to enhance that quite a bit. I'm excited for Michael Nelson to talk on that, to talk to those specifics. And then as far as taking some real care and looking at the interior renovations, Rachel, who's worked long and hard in commercial, higher ed, government sector, has plenty of experience in those areas. And then my specialty is branding and new look and feel. We're really excited. We see there's huge, massive potential. We feel like there's wonder. We feel like you guys could create some curiosity. We feel like people could want to really come here because it's a great convention center, but also come here to be really wowed by the fact that there's something so unique in all the world that's right here. And we think that that's what we should focus our attention on, to help gather more and more people coming to this area. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody online have anything to add to that before we start asking questions? Not seeing any. Marietta, I'll go ahead and let you ask the first question there. And anybody on the team, feel free to respond.
Okay, I'm gonna start with our questions right now.
Thank you.
Okay, tell us about a past project that is similar in size and scope. What were some of the hurdles during the project, lessons learned, and things to consider?
I'm going to refer to Rachel Hamlin, who's our interior specialist, and allow Rachel to share in that space of
Sure.
yeah, go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, thanks, Dallas. Hi, good morning. Yes, as Dallas mentioned, I'm a commercial interior designer, and I recently completed a project for the state of Utah here in Salt Lake City for a complete renovation for the basically the largest state office building in Salt Lake City. And part of that is a convention and multi-purpose center for them, for the state use, for the state employees and also as the public coming into that space. And so we were looking at ways to, kind of the standard things you would expect about how to delineate large spaces, then also into smaller spaces for how you could use them for different types of events, virtual meetings, in-person meetings. They had requests to also classroom-style events and galas and banquets and maybe a Taekwondo class, or just a large variety of needs that we had to accommodate. And so that was, quite challenging in terms of a look and feel, a durability standpoint in terms of the materials and the furniture that was selected. Not to mention the amount of space that was required to keep furniture to the side when, a banquet was happening versus, again, this Taekwondo or a yoga class happening. So those are all considerations that we had to take into, all things we had to take into consideration in the design. Certainly, as part of that, challenges are specific lighting control, things that are intuitive for the users to use in terms of the lighting for those specific types of events. And paramount is always the acoustics, right? So how do we create those large spaces that people can be heard all the way in the back, and also when you have two events happening at the same time, how do we use perhaps demountable partitions or different construction elements that allow that to happen. I don't know, Michael, if you want to jump in on that at all.
Sure. Hello, everyone. For 30 years, we have traveled the United States and worked extensively in convention services, live events, all types of meetings, venues for numerous corporate. So I've been in many facilities across the United States doing live events and things from acoustics to digital signage to meeting content. For 10 years in Sun Valley, Idaho, a big resort up here in Idaho where I personally live, we were the extensive in-house AV company, and the resort owners, Sinclair Oil, let us sell all meeting services to all their clientele, which is huge, broad, and then we executed all those. So all the variables of all those things that you as a board are looking at are vital. Yesterday I was in the Boise Center on the Grove, which is here in Boise, Idaho. It's 50,000 square feet. And I did the groundbreaking and the grand opening of that facility, and it was a technology trade show. So when vendors come in, they rent the space, they have different meetings going on the other side of the room. Where did the guests come in? Where are the bathrooms located? What's the signage for direction? Climate control is big. There's a lot of science in lighting and aspects of how you can come across for a meeting or just on the outside of the building. In Boise, there's 2 big banks that are 300 feet high, and we designed and installed all the architectural lighting on these buildings, and they create a flavor or a personality, if you will, accenting what Dallas was bringing up, what you really have there in Ely. So I'm excited to listen and learn and contribute to this project that you have. There's a lot of resources we have. We do a lot of video walls. They did a large Trump event in Reno, and we contracted directly with the White House. So it carried a lot of responsibility, and those are huge concerns. If people can't see and hear and what it looks like, if there's enough chairs and the spacing between the tables and how your sales team sell your space is real important.
Great. Thank you,
Does that make
guys.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your answer. Janet?
Okay, what are the technology and AV trends in convention and event centers, and what are some of the examples that we must have technology to be competitive? You did.
Michael, I'm gonna let you play with that.
All right, no problem. Clients have a diverse need, and a lot of them we have found out our company is like running an ER. It's last minute, their content changes, they have to add a Zoom meeting because someone doesn't show up. So I would go back to have basics and having a structure within the facility that can do everything as one or divide up into modules, so that you can stream from each of those sections, both audio and video, and then receive and display content. And you can do that with all different types of technology, from, projectors and video walls. And there's some great cost-effective, we're doing a lot of video walls that have a high. It was down in Southern California with UC Davis, and a 3-story, wall in just their atrium when they walk in. So depending on your budget, which is a big thing, right? What are the basics that we should have in this building to do this big space, and then how many small spaces can we break out at the same time? How do we control that, and how do we do it without an engineer there? So that it's very simple. We've done a lot of restaurants, And I've got a chain of restaurants that won't quit calling, and they've had a national firm put in all this stuff, and there's an incredible product out, and you can run it with one little knob. And you can split rooms, and you can turn up zones, and they love it. And the company's been around 83 years, the manufacturer. So that would be a good, and it's very cost effective and robust for audio. And there's a science to how you deliver sound, you know, but when your customers come in, you have one shot, have a reputation. Like, this place sucks because, or everything was great, but, you know, so as you look at the metrics of all these elements, putting that together into a good package. Yesterday I was with a professor from Boise State University. They are esports, which is very huge in the nation, and they lead the nation, and we put a video wall in, and this contractor put in this nice AV system, super expensive little tablet to control it, and you know what? They didn't understand it, they don't know how to work it, they ripped it out. Wednesday I was with it was a school district. They put in all this infrastructure and they spent all this money, and then the school teacher changed. And nobody knows how to talk to that equipment. So they ripped it out, and it was actually sitting in the back room in the back. And they bought another one, which is a waste of funds. So what I'm saying as an owner is once you get whatever you're going to get, you need to know that that's like the best thing, and it's reliable, and who's going to support it, and you're not near a metropolitan, a super, you know, a large city. The big hospital here called, wanted to take me to lunch, and Stryker offered him a $1.8 million package for 9 operating rooms. And they wanted to sit and talk about what this $1.8 million AV package did and what we could do to trim the budget. And we brought it down to under 300 grand. And it's reliable, and they use it, and guess what? I haven't had one service call, and that was probably 5 or 6 years ago. And there's a lot of manufacturers out there. That's a huge thing to just, I've been in venues my whole life, so I see it from your side as an owner, from the sales side, from a customer point of view, and then from a vendor. So those are good things to evaluate.
Great, thank you, Michael.
Hi,
Sandy?
okay. Have you worked in remote areas, and what issues did you see arising during the implementation phase? And how would you overcome those issues?
I can speak on behalf of the firm, our 2 lead architects who aren't here today, Thomas and Jen. They have worked remote, and that's, if the board would like to look at our proposal that we sent, you'll see that we've had a number of projects specifically to White Pine, and we've always been happy and willing to make that commute. And those projects have also all completed, so it happened, and we were obviously able to work that out to oversee the projects to completion. Again, I just referred to the number of projects associated here. We actually have a little bit of a tie to this building specifically, if you look a little bit back in your history. So we are able to make those plans, those travel plans, and to be at a space. I came here because we're that interested, so.
Thank you. Sandy, you got a follow-up?
I do. We do multiple types of events with quick turnarounds. What are your suggestions for flexibility of floor plans while still being able to accommodate a number of events?
I refer to Rachel. Do you think you can do that one, Rachel?
Yeah, I can take a stab at that one. Yeah, I think that there's definitely, it's important to plan well from the beginning, right? In terms of, okay, if we know that we have quick turnaround, what are the, how is the space organized to allow us to do that? What are the furnishings that we purchase? that are, again, like Michael said, that the end user can actually operate, right? So they're not having to refer to manuals or do anything. Nope, we know that this table folds, we roll it over here, it goes in this space. That, you know, almost maybe that there's sort of an educational component that happens with the staff or the people who are going to be running the convention center before it opens, so that they really understand and have you know, a strong sense of ownership over the space, of how they can create those quick turnarounds and yeah, I mean, I think that it's the furniture, the furnishing types, and the layout of the space is really going to be really interesting to dive into that and really understand what those what different types of events you're having and how we can best help you transition between them quickly.
I've seen, maybe I could share a little bit of light on that. We're in and out of a lot of facilities, and the setup crews in the day and the night, you know, they turn over the buildings, there's software that's used that layouts everything in the building, and it'll show you classroom tables, 8-foot tables, 6-foot tables, rounds, how many chairs per table, where the outlets are, what the circuit, and then the timeline, the schedule. And then they just put those up for each of the meeting rooms. And that information is vital. And some of the equipment that could be used in your room could be permanently mounted, and then it could be broken up. You know, this is meeting room A, this is B, this is C, and then it all comes into one. And how do we turn that over? Because you know what, there's an auction moving in here at 7 a.m. So we got to move all these tables, and that's usually done, you know, on a piece of paper in the setup crew. And I've used that a lot, different clients that we've had, you know, proposals, drawings.
All right, thank you guys. Janet?
The design elements necessary to maximize small rooms as well as design elements to maximize larger rooms.
Yeah, I can speak to that. I think it's human scale is very important, right? You can feel very uncomfortable very quickly in a large space, and so you know, finding ways that the interior design helps the individual feel comfortable in the space is something we'll definitely look at. You know, maybe that's the scale of the floor treatment. Maybe that's the way the ceiling comes down. I think, you know, that'll be a big component. Certainly, keeping spaces timeless and fresh and modern and clean allow for, you know, those are important, obviously, design elements in any space, but certainly in a space where you're going to be surrounded by potentially a lot of other people. How can we create a space that is timeless and modern, but still warm and comfortable, and has that human scale? Certainly again, if we're talking about really interesting branding and the things that create this, you know, the sense that you're in Ely, that you're in Nevada, that you've got this incredible artifact of the Bristlecone pine. I mean, things like that are really things that we're excited about, and integrating those into the design of the large and the small spaces.
Thank you, Rachel. And Marietta, I believe you've got the last question.
What ideas do you have that would give us the wow factor in comparison to other event centers around, well, we're saying around the state, so.
I'll circle back and say it's the very first thing I said, and it was genuinely coming from a fresh view, fresh eyes. And then I walked in here today too, and I'm like, I'm gonna go take a picture by the piece of wood. You have something really, really remarkably special, and it's unique, and it's not even canned that I'm saying it. It's here, and I just think there's this beautiful opportunity, and we would love to help you capitalize on that. To use the very thing that, obviously that was the foresight too about this having this piece here and part of this building, but let's turn up the volume on it. Let's shine light on it. You know, let's bring some fire and heat to it. You know,